Hello, I think I'm a little bit behind on the stream, but very good afternoon or happy lunchtime to everyone that's watching. Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome back to We Are Careers. We're here for our 5th episode of this current series, which is, it feels like time is really kind of flying. For those who kind of not met us before, we're going to do some brief introductions in a minute, but we've got a really fantastic episode lined up today. We've been promoting it pretty hard on social media. There's a bit of a clue within the theme there, which we'll come on to as we start the episode. So for those who've not met me before, I'm Chris Webb. I'm a higher education careers professional, a registered career development professional with the CDI, and I'm joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Meet Sabir. So Sabir, how are we doing today? Having a good start to the week so far?
We are. I'm having a fantastic start to the week, and I can't even believe that we're already on Wednesday hump day already. And that's the great thing about the show. We like to bring you something to look forward to on Wednesday hump day. For those of you that don't know me, I'm known as Meet Sabir, and I work internationally, helping young professionals get unstuck and get back into career flow without the stress. And I'm also the creator of the I Am Thriving career coaching program, where I teach international coaches how to help their clients create even more powerful transformation without wasting resources on time and tools that don't work. And we were just laughing. I don't know whether or not anybody caught this. I was just saying, we've got 2 fantastic guests today who we're going to be shortly introducing. So make sure that you do stay tuned, because it's a bumper pack. Not only do we have one guest, amazing guest, Jake, who is always full of sort of kind of interesting nuggets of information, and he's going to be giving us some sort of facts and truth bombs very shortly. And then Gina, who's always smiling. I don't think I've ever seen this woman not smiling. Now, I'm going to encourage all of you who are watching right now, especially if you're watching live, contribute in the comments. We love hearing from you. If you've got questions for our guests, then let us know. And if you can hear and see us, hit that like and share button. But also as well, let us know, what type of work do you specialize in? And do you use TikTok in your career coaching practice? Let us know. Now, as always, we do a shout out of the week. And this week, this has got people talking. OMG, oh my God, I think LinkedIn blew up as a result of these 2 ladies. So Chris, who are we celebrating, and why are we celebrating these 2 amazing women today?
Yeah, thanks, Sabir. So a slightly different shout out this week, and it's something that's been doing the rounds, as Sabir mentioned, on social media, particularly on LinkedIn, but a sort of slightly separate shout out as well. Mark Smith's been talking about it quite a lot on the CDI Career Professional Facebook group, and again, bringing it to people's attention, which is brilliant. So it started with a post from Mandy Green, careers leader, director of aspiration at Bedford Academy. And Mandy basically shared this job advert from a school that was essentially receptionist / careers advisor, which, any of our professionals watching will be thinking, how on earth would you manage those jobs, given how busy being a receptionist in a school is, plus all of the skills, the knowledge, the experience you need to be a careers professional? And the truth was, the job advert didn't give much confidence that someone would be able to do that. No real mention of qualifications, any of those sort of things. So Mandy kind of shared that quite rightly to spark a bit of debate. And Debbie Dimmock's then taken that forward. She's again sort of asked people for comments and feedback, and she's actually approached the school directly to kind of query with them about the job advert, to ask them if they're aware of the requirement to kind of provide qualified careers guidance to their students, and also to kind of challenge, them actually promoting that type of job. So it's a fantastic bit of advocacy from both Mandy and Debbie, and I think really worthy of a shout out, particularly as it's always a very hot topic around salaries, and I guess how the profession's being valued, something I know we're going to come to in the CDI news later as well. So that was our shout out for the week. So a massive shout out to Debbie and to Mandy, and Sabir. I think on that note, we'll move back to the introductions, if that's okay.
Yeah, 100%. Now, you might be watching this right now, and if you're watching on the replay, or even if you're watching live and you're thinking, what are you guys talking about? This has just passed me by. Well, do not worry. As always, we have a show resources document that is released, and this is accessible by our members only. Now, if you're wondering, the CDI, what does it mean to be a member? How can I become a member? Well, we have a treat in store, because all you have to do is head on over to the CDI website. Information about that is available in the comments, but also in the show's document. And you can access not only sort of kind of what we're going to be talking about here today, but also as well information about how you can become a member. And honestly, being part of this community, and I think I speak for Chris when I say this, has has not only been amazing because of the support and the value and the wealth and depth of knowledge that you get access to, but also the support that you get as well. It kind of removes some of that feeling of isolation that you can sometimes perhaps feel, or frustration. And that's one of the great things about this community and being a member. And for less than a price of a Starbucks, you can get so much sort of support, access, training, CPD, up to date, the latest news that's happening as well. So please do check that out. As always as well, if you are a registered CDI professional, please make sure that you get your PIN. And for those of you that are wondering, I'm wearing mine today. So check that out. If you haven't received it as well, we'll be giving you information about how you can sort of kind of access that. So what are we going to be talking about here today? So this is a subject that got brought up, and we were very divided about sort of whether or not this should be something that we should do or not do. And so we wanted to bring to you so that we can crack open this conversation with two of our fabulous guests. And then Jake, I'm going to come to you first. Jake Richings, please do introduce yourself. How have you become famous when it comes to finding your career path and speaking for TikTok? And then Gina, I'll come over to you next.
Thank you, Sophia. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been described as famous, but my name is Jake Richings. I speak at schools, colleges and universities, sharing my story from leaving school unemployed neat in 2015 to some 5 years later having a career where I was traveling around Europe, speaking to company executives about values, but feeling very lost and stuck in that and struggling with my mental health. So I share with a lot of young people the steps they can take towards finding careers that they love. More recently, that has become helping education and careers advisors use TikTok as a platform to better reach and engage with their young people.
Oh, thank you for that, Jake. And especially for being so open and honest and transparent about your mental health. I think it's so important, because it's something that we talk about with our own sort of kind of client groups, but also as well, our own selves as well, because we're human too. So thank you, Jake, for sharing that. What a beautiful introduction. And Gina, if I come over to you, let the audience know, let the viewers know, who are you and why have you been brought on the show today to explore with us this theme of TikTok?
Oh, well, much like Jake, I'm quite the TikTok enthusiast, although newer to it. I am a careers guidance professional, registered as well, and have been doing this for over a decade and have the pleasure of supporting young people school age. So I work at Elaine's school at the moment, and I also freelance at the LSE. So work with university students and graduates, of course, as well. And hugely passionate about supporting young people on that journey from education to employment and entrepreneurship, and very much doing it in a spirit of fun and optimism, not fear and overwhelm, which is what made me laugh when you described the smiles, Sabiha, because I guess that's much like how you describe your work. It really is about making it fun. And actually, that's one of the ways that TikTok comes in, which I think Jake and I will both be able to share a bit more with you about how that works.
Oh, you definitely are, Gina. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're so excited. So if you're watching this right now and you're thinking to yourself, TikTok, I know I've heard of this. I think my kids play with this. How is this going to come in? So Chris, what are we going to be talking about today? And why are we talking about career talk today?
Well, it's a great question, Spear. And I think, as you say, this was something where there's been quite a lot of demand for people to hear more about this, partly prompted by people like Jake and Gina, which we'll kind of come on to, and partly by a lot of kind of articles like ones we've shared in sort of the show resources today from BBC News about job seekers in the US using kind of TikTok as a platform for applying for jobs or seeking careers advice. So, it really is a very, very topical moment to be picking this up. And I guess really kind of the best starting point is for us to kind of take this from a layperson's perspective, which was certainly me until recently. And I guess, Jake, I'll come to you first, if that's okay. For people who may be not familiar with the social media platform TikTok, how does it work as a platform? And, how do you use it personally for your work at the moment?
Yeah, so interestingly, I was in the same position this time last year where I didn't really know what TikTok was and I was just getting started. So TikTok is a social media scroller, but it's all video content. What that means is if you keep scrolling, you're going to keep seeing videos. The big thing that differentiates TikTok from Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of those things, is that you don't have to follow someone to see their content. I think that's really important for careers advice, because we're able to reach people that aren't necessarily looking for careers advice, but we're still able to engage them with it. And so the way I use it is I post a video that's about 15 to 60 seconds long every day, sharing a little bit of wisdom, a call to action, something that I've learned, and I share that to what can be hundreds or thousands of young people.
That's great. Thanks, Jake. And I mean, we're going to come back a little bit, I guess, around sort of how you use it in a slightly more detailed way from a careers perspective. But Gina, I guess, your experience has been slightly different to Jake, as you said, slightly newer to sort of TikTok. How would you kind of describe, I guess, your experience on the platform so far? And I guess, why did you choose to start using it?
Well, in a way, we probably have a fairly similar timeline, but I think Jake took it seriously sooner than I did. So I probably joined very end of April 2021, so just under a year ago. Didn't pay it much attention at all. Probably really started focusing on it this year, I'd say, probably January 2022. A few snippets before then, but it's only been this year that I've been posting more or less daily, or a couple of times a day where I can. And yeah, as Jake described, these are really short videos. Now, for any of us who are careers professionals, which is typically going to be anybody who's watching this, you will know one of the things that we talk about is the attention span of the people that we work with at times. I could say particularly young people, but actually I think having phones in our hands and social media has probably made all of us have a shorter attention span than we used to. And so TikTok videos are kind of 15 seconds, 60 seconds. They fairly recently rolled out up to 3 minutes. And a couple of weeks ago announced that they are going to be rolling out up to 10 minutes. Now, this feels really kind of not native to TikTok. It feels a little bit like going into YouTube territory. But like with all of the social media networks, they are trying different things. And, as a result of moving to 3 minutes, and if people do start doing 10 minutes, what that means is they're looking for more original content. So maybe between Jake and I, we can break that down a little bit. So TikTok started as Musical.ly. So before August 2018, it was Musical.ly, and it was an app where you were literally lip syncing. And who doesn't love a good lip sync, right? Yeah. So that's what we're seeing on TikTok. That's what we still see on TikTok. But now that they're moving into kind of 3 minutes, potentially 3 minute plus territory, they are really valuing original content more. And for Jake and myself and anybody else and any of you who decide to start doing TikTok, what that means is creating your own content, creating your own tips. That is considered original content. And that is something that the app is really keen to see more of.
That's great. Thanks, Gina. And I mean, I know, Sophia, we're going to move on to sort of dig into all this in a bit more detail. But Jake, if I just come back to you really quickly. I mean, we've talked obviously about how careers professionals are already on quite a lot of channels like LinkedIn, Twitter, for example. I guess just from an etiquette perspective, are there things that people need to be aware of on TikTok that are perhaps slightly different, similar to what Gina's talked about, I guess, in terms of length of video and those type of things?
Yeah. So when I was starting off, a couple of years ago, I tried every single social media platform. Still on LinkedIn, but I tried Twitter, I tried YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. They all have something different. The big thing with TikTok is kind of like Gina mentioned, it's about being succinct in video content form. So whilst everything else, you can have time to put your words on a page, shuffle them around. With TikTok, you get a very short caption, which is maybe about the same as a tweet. But the main thing that's going to take up your screen is you on video. So it's about how you use that. You don't have to sing or dance. You can if you want to. If you want to bust out the Macarena while doing careers advice, you're more than welcome to. But from like an etiquette perspective, I started doing it in a similar way to this, just like a conversation, a piece to camera, and that works as well. So it's kind of like you can use TikTok to do whatever sort of video content you want. It doesn't just have to be the sort of stuff you might have heard from your kids or your students where you're seeing trendy dances or silly videos.
Thank you for that, Jake. And you know what? I've got so many questions. So I imagine our viewers have got so many questions. You know, just kind of visually, that visual sort of kind of Macarena career advice. Oh, I think for some of us, it's like, oh my God, no way, the worst thing ever, completely outside the comfort zone. And then for others, they're like, oh, I can do the Macarena where I'm giving career advice, right? There you go. Gina's kind of raising her hand and saying, yep, this could be me. You know, so like I say, so many questions. One of the things that I know I got schooled on when we were preparing for this show was some of the myths, okay? So I do want you to sort of kind of bring that in regarding sort of some of the myths that we have around sort of kind of, you know, so different social media platforms. And obviously today it's all about the TikTok. But what have been your personal, Gina, if I come to you first, what's been your personal journey with regards to using TikTok? And I know that you said you started off last year and then now really it's in the last 3 months that it's sort of kind of taken over and you've got consumed by it. It's like almost like an addict, that you've become an addict with kind of posting, okay? And what have you found are the benefits as well as some of the challenges, and perhaps maybe include some of the myths before you started your journey that you had about TikTok with regards to using the platform specifically for, you know, sort of the work that we do as career professionals. So Gina.
Well, I think I'll start with what I would consider to be one of the biggest myths, which is that it is purely kind of under 20s singing and dancing and having a great old time on there. Now, don't get me wrong, it is that. But there are so many pockets of TikTok. It is incredible. So in the way that, you know, as careers professionals, we have a community. There are lots of different communities on TikTok of mums, of all sorts of people, you know, kind of whether it's being fashion or body conscious people, all pretty much everything that you can imagine. So I guess the biggest myth to dispel is that we shouldn't be on there, that there isn't a place for us at, you know, from mid-20s to our 40s, 50s, 60s, you know, all sorts of ages within our kind of careers professional community. I can guarantee you that there are people older than you on there and thriving and having a great time. So with that myth dispelled, I'd love to move to some of the benefits that Sabiha asked about. For me, one of the benefits is I think it's incredibly important to be as current as we can with the careers advice and information that we're sharing. Now, I don't think that there's a way that we can do that as well as we could if we're not noticing that there is a genuine a creator economy. So when we talk about the creator economy, that is, you know, when our clients say to us that they want to be on YouTube or they want to be an influencer, I think that there was a time where people might have rolled their eyes at that. And I think that time is long gone. That time probably shouldn't have existed, to be fair. But now we have a whole load of evidence about how people are earning and making a living as creators on different platforms. You know, they have creator funds. TikTok has a creator fund, which isn't necessarily one of the better ones. I think Pinterest is one of the better ones. But ultimately, there are people of all different age ranges who are selling services and products and ultimately making a living, starting with social media, and TikTok is one of those places as well. So I guess when it comes to a benefit, it's understanding it. And, you know, if a client comes to us telling us that, you know, when they think about their portfolio career, one of the things that they want to do is be a content creator, I think it's a really good idea to understand what that is and what that feels like, even kind of beyond LinkedIn, which is a great platform where I think many of us might be. It's quite good for our own CPD, I would say, in our own development and our own walking our talk about stepping out of your comfort zone to be doing something that feels quite alien, because actually a lot of our clients are going to need to do that, not necessarily TikTok, but they're going to need to do something which feels quite alien and out of their comfort zone as part of their career journey. And I think we can be quite inspirational if we show that we're willing to do the same.
100%, Gina, 100%. You know, being sort of that role model, that positive role model for our clients, and also understanding meeting our clients in the space that they are in. And I know Jake is going to be talking a lot more in detail about some of the stats, because I know it blew my mind, because I definitely was one of those. I was like, no, my community is not on there. My people, the people I serve, are not on there. I literally remember those words coming out of my mind, and then you guys schooling me on that. So we're going to be talking more about that. I just want to bring in a couple of comments that are coming through at the moment. Oh, you're welcome. You know, people are saying they're glad that you're here. Jake and Gina, looking forward to today's show. So thank you, guys. And then we've got one other person commenting saying, outside my comfort zone today. And there's a question about TikTok and algorithms. Does TikTok use algorithms to send you stuff it thinks you'll want to see, which has good and bad aspects? Gina's nodding her head. And I think Jake's already going to come in. So I'm going to come to you, Jake, now, and perhaps maybe you can sort of begin addressing that question, but also as well sharing your journey with regards to sort of TikTok, and maybe some of the myths, or maybe some of the things that you've heard people say to you, because I know you've got a challenge as well that you do as well, where you teach us plebs how to use this, you know, how to use this. So yeah, if I come to you now, Jake, you can take it from there.
No, it's a really good question. TikTok is designed to send you stuff it thinks you might like. So the way that works really well for me is TikTok might be thinking, oh, there seems to be a lot of people that we think are around, 18 years old watching Jake's video. So let's send his video to more 18-year-olds. So if there's people that are getting value from your video, it's going to send them that video to more people like that, which is how it really plays into what Gina was saying about the niche communities that do exist. If you are a mum on TikTok and you watch videos that other mums like, it's going to send you videos like that. And so that really allows us to put out content without having to spend loads on like a marketing budget and reach the right kind of people that we want to engage with our work. I think one of the biggest concerns I had when I started TikTok was that I wouldn't be able to be authentically myself, because I was a bit worried that in order to get views, I'd have to, dance or sing, or that, short form content, I usually, when I'm on stage, talk for like 45 minutes or an hour. Like, how am I going to do 15 seconds when there's like one of the comments actually just put, there is so much nuance. And I think that has become one of the biggest challenges, especially when we know that young people want this like short, sharp information. It's like, how do you break down something which would normally be a 10-minute talk into 15, 20 seconds? So one of the things I've learned, and I continue to learn from TikTok, is kind of this like learn by doing, such that if I put out a video and young people really, really like it, even though they've only known me for 20 seconds and they don't really know who I am, they will comment and say, thank you, this has helped. And I get that feedback from young people. I see that in the views, I see that in the likes and the comments. But equally, if I maybe say something that doesn't make sense or doesn't have that nuance, then they'll put comments being like, this is confusing or doesn't make sense. I'll see that in the views. So that means that when I go into schools or when I do my work, it allows me to be much, much better at that. And I know you mentioned about the challenge. So the thing that I was thinking the most about over the last couple of months was, does TikTok work for me? Because, I have a bit of experience speaking, because I'm a young person, is that how it works for me? Or is this like a learnable skill that other people could get? So I put together a load of videos, like 5-10 minute videos about what is TikTok, how does it work, how do you edit a video, how do you record, how do you use the features that TikTok is really good for, like a duet or a stitch, which probably won't mean anything to a lot of you. So teaching people how that worked. And with other people that are similar to you, so careers leaders, mental health speakers, someone from the council, using TikTok. In just a dozen videos, they had somewhat like 25,000 views across them. And to me, that was the realization that, okay, this is a learnable skill, but it really challenges you to break this long form content into short form, but it also helps you to reach your niche as well. So some of the stats, because I know you probably wanted me to share them. Unlike Facebook, you don't have to put your age or date of birth into TikTok. So these are estimations based on surveys and questions, but somewhere between 25 and 35% of TikTok users are under 24. If you break that down into generation by generation, it gets a little bit smaller each time. So whilst this is an app that you will probably have heard from your students or young people, there is every generation represented on TikTok, even the really older people, they are on there. And there's no barrier to what sort of person you have to be to share content. In fact, I got a comment on one of my videos saying, "You look a bit young to be giving this kind of advice." So maybe that's something for you about just how your niche can be in there. I think there's about 2.2 billion views on hashtag career advice. That is billion with a B. And you can just put that across into any niche. If there's a certain type of person at university, you can put that hashtag in there and find them. If you're a mum, you can put that. If you like gardening, if you like raising frogs in your pond, there is a niche there for you. And so it's just a great platform for reaching them organically.
I think you're making a very compelling argument here, both of you, about, I guess, why careers professionals should consider using this. And I'm going to kind of come back to Gina as we sort of draw to a close here, because I think this is a topic we could basically talk about all day. It's been fascinating. For those watching the show, we've already had about 45 minutes chatting about this in the pre-show, last week. So it is a really, really interesting topic. Gina, I want to come back to you, because I think where we're at now, we've got people watching this. There's some real interest in the chat. And, obviously, you've made a compelling case as to why careers professionals should get involved from the point of view of understanding our audience, from kind of testing ourselves, pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone. But I suppose what a lot of viewers want to kind of know, if they're less experienced, is how could I kind of take this forward? And I think you want to kind of come in with some stuff around, titles and videos and what content you might actually create that links to kind of careers advice and guidance. So I'll bring you back in first, Gina, and then we'll finish with Jake, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to share that in terms of something tangible, because I think, the stats that Jake has shared really show how there is interest there. And, whenever we talk about social media, we talk about algorithms, these mysterious algorithms, and the TikTok one is so generous in terms of seeing content from people that you don't follow. So there is a real opportunity here to know that your audience is on TikTok and that they can stumble across your content. And remember, so much of what we do as careers professionals is we light the spark, right? We light the spark so that people can go off and do their own research and have their own conversations and get curious and take it further if they're interested. And that's really what we can do on so many social media platforms, and TikTok very much included. So I very quickly wanted to share a few specific titles of say some of the things that I've done fairly recently. So in terms of the most popular videos that I can see in terms of views. So one of the most popular ones, and it keeps really going up, is no idea what to do in your career. Here are 3 things which will help. So that's one of the titles. One is, what are the best jobs for women and girls? Which, of course, the answer is any darn thing they want. But that is ultimately what was presented in 15 seconds. Work experience, insights from 16 and 17-year-olds. So this didn't actually feature my students, but I essentially recounted a session that we had done at school where our year 12s had been talking to our year 11s about what some advice from work experience. And I distilled just a few of their nuggets of advice. And that's one that's been really popular. Important info for students choosing A-levels. I know Jake and I both recently done a little bit of content on that. And one I had called, have you applied for 10,000 Black interns yet? Which is not something that I'm affiliated with, but is something that I've seen on LinkedIn and connected with, and is incredible. And that's one of the ones that's had a lot of views as well. So I wanted to share just a few tangible things, because you really can go in any direction. As Jake said, his content is very much like this. It's talking directly to the person on the other end. I'd say probably about 60-65% of my content is that. And then I love a dance, right? Jake was talking about authenticity. I love to dance. So if I can mix music and sharing messages, I'm here for it. So you can really lean into it in the authentic way that works for you. So I really encourage you to give it a go. And of course, Jake's very helpful way of hand holding through that process is probably a really great place to start.
That's fantastic, Gina. And I think, the authenticity stuff keeps coming back, which is brilliant. Jacob, we come to you perhaps for the last word on this. Any careers professionals who perhaps haven't been involved in TikTok and want to get involved moving forward, any kind of final thoughts for them or suggestions?
Yeah, so I I do TikTok because it is worthy of the 5-10 minutes a day that I spend on it. There are 1,000 other things that I could be doing, but I choose to do TikTok because it works for me. But I didn't know that before I started doing TikTok, right? I didn't know that that was going to be the thing I wanted until I started doing it. Loads of people message me about what I do on TikTok and are interested in getting started, but don't know where to start. And I've never heard anyone say that, I'm worried about doing my second TikTok. It's always the first one. So I created this little challenge, the TikTok challenge, which you can see on my website, to hold your hand through the first couple of videos, to give you little prompts like Gina's given you, asking for your take on conventional wisdom, on what you would have liked to hear when you were 18, advice that you wanted 10 years ago, to give you those sort of little prompts, but also teach you how TikTok works so that you can give it a go. I would challenge everyone to do maybe 5 or 10 videos just so you can say, I've done it and actually it wasn't right, or okay, I've done it and maybe I want to do a couple more. Because I think without giving it that try, you won't know if, like me, it is worthy of spending that time in your day.
And such a knock-on benefit, as you're saying, Jake, in terms of how this could be applied elsewhere. So, we won't dwell too much on this. We're very, very short on time, but that sort of short, concise form content, as you both mentioned, can then be applied elsewhere. It doesn't have to be on TikTok, of course. So, just in fact, improving your ability to come up with those concise messages around those key important themes that we talk about as careers professionals. So many knock-on benefits there as well. Sorry, Sabir, over to you.
No. I know we could keep going and talking about this, but as Chris mentioned, we are to the end of our show. So I just want to say thank you to both of our guests. Jake, I love the fact that you're encouraging us as career practitioners, as career professionals, to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone. One user that's watching us live has just said, love this, Jake, unless you try, you just won't know. And somebody's envious, Gina, of your dancing abilities, because they're saying, I wish I could dance. I didn't bring that in. And, and Gina sort of kind of mentioned as well, it's getting that spark going for our clients, but also as well, we have to do it for ourselves. So perhaps we've whet your appetite today. You've watched the show, you've heard from Jake and Gina today, and you're now thinking, I would love to connect with these two people. Perhaps you want to check out Gina's content, or maybe you want to learn more about Jake's challenge that he does, where he teaches us professionals how to use that. So Gina, if I come to you, what's sort of the best way, and what have you got coming up as we wrap up the show and head on over to the news section for today?
Oh, thank you so much. So easiest place to connect where you may already be is LinkedIn, which of course I'm there under my own name, Gina Vistrom, and it's always a pleasure to connect with careers professionals there. And you will see actually both Jake and I will repurpose, we'll share our TikToks onto LinkedIn as well. So on the platforms where we already are, we can start conversations there too. So that's probably the best place to connect with me. In terms of what's coming up, I'm really entering a season where I am looking to connect with more schools and educational institutions and organizations really, to be able to talk more about building a personal brand, creating your own career, because we all know that it's not purely about gatekeepers anymore. If our, clients want to be journalists or want to be on the radio, they just need to be using the technology at hand to create whatever they can create. So I'm a big believer in encouraging our clients to sort of enter the creator economy and support them with that. So if anybody is from an institution where you think that would be beneficial for your students to hear about, then please feel free to reach out. And, I know I'm going to be doing some workshops in May at a school in Southeast London, which is not the one that I work at. And yeah, so feel free to reach out to me about that kind of thing.
Fantastic, Gina. And I love how you sort of talk about careers as seasons, because they are very much now, and you've mentioned as well, both of you have, about how we all have now sort of portfolio careers. So Jake, you've mentioned the 5-day challenge and how people can go to your website. Again, all of this information that we've been sharing today and the tips and the hacks are going to be available in the show's resources document that is only exclusively available to CDI members. And if you're interested about becoming a CDI member, it really is so simple and so easy to join. You can head on over to the CDI website. But before we head on over to the news section, which we're going to whittle through really quickly, Jake, anything that you've got coming up, the challenge, if people have got interested and they want to do the challenge, have they missed the boat? Are you going to be doing more? How can people connect with you?
Yep, so the challenge is always available on my website. It's completely free to sign up, and it's video content, but also you can get in touch with me as well. So I'd love to see what you guys get up to on TikTok with that. Staying on the TikTok theme, I'm doing the official TikToks for National Work Experience Week, which I've done in the past with National Careers Week and Apprenticeship Week, which is really fun. I love doing that, and it really helps to get that message out there. But aside from all the TikTok stuff, I'm still speaking in schools. If you'd like to get someone, 25-year-old that's maybe a bit more relatable to your students, sharing a bit of their career story, then that's the sort of stuff I love doing, and I do that quite a lot as well. So lots of different things, which is what I love doing as well. So it's a massive privilege for me to be doing that.
I'm just going to jump into there really quickly, because I think Jake and Gina are selling themselves. I just want to let viewers know, if you read the CDI's Career Matters publication, you will see an article featuring both Jake and Gina and their experiences on TikTok in the April issue that's coming out this month. So just wanted to drop that in there before we go to the news.
No, I'm glad that you mentioned it, because it's so important to know that for our members that there is more content around this coming up. And I know we've also got, as we sort of wrap up today, so thank you, Gina, thank you, Jake, for joining us. Someone's already said in the comments, sorry I'm late, but I'll watch on catch up. Sounds like it's been really useful. So already you've got a fan here. You've got somebody else who's saying that they're gearing up to be brave. So I think you've got someone getting ready for TikTok. And so what do we have coming in today's CDI news? Well, there's a couple of things that, as always, it's been a bumper back week, but there's 3 things that I want to really highlight in today's CDI news updates. And number 1 is book your tickets to join the live 100 years of career celebration. Tickets have now gone live, and you can get access via the website, but also as well, they included a link in the show resources document. And one of the great things about the ticket price is that you get exclusive access, not only to the celebrations, but also the UK CDI Development Awards at Bliss Hill. And it's going to be taking place on Saturday, the 18th of June from 4:30 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. And what's great is that it's been planned as a family fun day. So they've included career themes, exhibitions, competitions, music, interactive areas. So please do check out the website for more details about that. Now, at the beginning of the show, our theme is one of the reasons why I picked this particular theme, and it's because the CDI is currently doing some research into looking into, should career development be a chartered profession? And when we do become, if we move down the route of becoming a chartered profession, then pay, conditions, all of those things become a part of that conversation. Now, the Career Development Institute is sponsoring some research into whether or not as an organization, as a community, should I say, should become a chartered profession. The research is being carried out by the International Centre for Guidance Studies. And so we're currently in the first stage of the research, which is a survey, and the CDI would like to invite you to participate. The survey takes around about 20 to 30 minutes. It's on my to-do list, I have to say. It's definitely something that I'm going to be looking at doing and completing as well. Are you going to be sort of interested in taking part? The link is available in the show resources document, but also as well, check out your inbox, because an email was sent out with a way for you to access for that. And if you have, and if you want to be interviewed and give your feedback, because maybe perhaps you feel really passionate, whether you feel passionate about the community becoming chartered or not, then you can contact Nikki Moore, and her contact information is available in the show resources. And then finally, highlight your organization and career strategy. The CDI would love to hear from individuals as well as organizations who would be interested in leading one of the 40-minute workshops at the National Careers Leaders Conference and Exhibition. Now, as part of our community, they want to hear from new but also established voices in the career development, and they're keen to promote those from the breadth of the sector. So you don't have to necessarily be a careers leader or working in careers leaders to be able to take part and to do this 40-minute workshop. Now, what you do have to have, and information, as I said, as always, is available in the show resources document, is looking around the theme of developing the workforce. How do you identify training needs and work resourcefully to meet these requirements. So it's about creating a culture. How do you raise awareness with your educational establishment so that all teachers recognize that they have a role to play in career development, and careers become an integral part of the organization's mission, as well as building on practical approaches. Now, the deadline to submit a proposal is 5 p.m. on the 31st of May, so you've got plenty of time to take part. And that wraps up my part of the CDI news. So Chris, what have you chosen this week for the main news feed?
Yep, thanks, Sabia. I've gone a little bit crazy. I put there's probably about like 25 different stories in the show resources document. It's been such a bumper fortnight for careers news. So I've kind of broken it down to 3. First one will be no surprise for anyone who follows me on LinkedIn. There's a really great new online course called Career Guidance for the 21st Century. It's been put together by kind of a cross-European group of universities with careers professionals and people within the sector. And it's basically all about considering and reflecting on our practice within the context of the 21st century. Quite a lot of LMI in there. Really, really nicely put together online course, totally free. We've shared the link in the document. Second one is about the school's white paper that came out recently. Very light on careers, I think many of us would agree, but there's a really nice response from Janet College of Outstanding Careers, which again you can find in the resource doc. And then the final thing is some research from NFER around the skills imperative 2035. So basically, what do essential skills look like for the workplace? This has been generating quite a lot of debate online about not only what skills are essential in work, but how do we refer to these? Soft skills, essential skills, power skills. It's definitely kind of caused a little bit of conversation on social media. So do check those out in the show resources document. But that pretty much brings us to the end of today's session. Join us again 2 weeks' time. Wednesday, the 20th of April at 12 o'clock. We'll be with the author, Michael Tafula, talking about his book, Is Going to Uni Worth It? Again, perhaps a bit of a one for debate, perhaps. So that's when we'll be back. But until then, all that's left really to say is thanks very, very much to both Gina and Jake for joining us today. Thanks, of course, Sabia, for fantastic co-hosting as always. And thanks to all of you watching at home. We will see you in a fortnight's time. Goodbye.